Hello everybody, my name is Ollie. I'm a junior doctor living and working in the UK, and today I'm here to talk to you about a really new and exciting piece of work that's just been published by the British Medical Association, which is the Junior Doctor Rate Card. Yes, that's right, I'm back. It has been a couple of weeks since I've last uploaded anything longer form. I needed some time away. I'm really glad I took it. Things are getting really busy at the moment between kind of postgraduate surgical exams, BMA stuff ongoing that you may have heard about, and I'm in the middle of a teaching postgraduate qualification, so there is lots going on behind the scenes, but I'm back, I'm re-energized, all is good. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a like on the video so I know that you are watching and enjoying, and let's jump into it today. So as I was saying, this is all about the new BMA rate card for junior doctors, and this is really exciting for a number of reasons. Specifically, this is a rate card for extra-contractual activity, or locums to you and me. I've already made a video talking about what locum doctors are and what locum work is like, so you can go ahead and watch that if you so choose. But the long and short of it is basically that locum work is extra temporary work that someone takes up in addition to whatever their core duties and hours are. So for example, I work 48 hours a week, more or less, as do virtually all junior doctors in England. In my current role, I'm employed predominantly Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, with maybe 1 or 2 evenings a week, 5 PM till 9 PM on call, with 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 weekends on call. Now, outside of those hours, if I so choose, I could take on additional work to earn more money in addition to those core hours, so-called extra-contractual work. And this work appears because you are filling in for somebody else who might be off sick, might be on study leave, or they're absent for whatever reason. You are filling in for them or taking their place, and that is what the phrase locum tenens means. You are taking the place of another doctor in this case. And some people, of course, do this kind of work all the time. I, for example, am employed full-time in a training program, but a doctor absolutely doesn't have to be, and so could work full-time doing this kind of locum work if they so choose. In fact, lots of doctors opt to do this. And the key thing to understand is that this kind of work pays substantially more than standard NHS rates. So for example, as an FY2, that is a second year postgraduate doctor working in the NHS, I get paid about £16 an hour for my core duties. If I want to do exactly those same core duties but more, perhaps filling in for another doctor with the same duties, I can easily earn £50 to £55 an hour doing the exact same job, simply as a locum doctor, if I so choose. And this is where the rub comes and why a rate card is important, because different NHS trusts will pay their locum doctors different amounts. Although we are on a national pay scale across the country for junior doctors, so according to our grade, we earn the same as all other doctors of that same grade. For locum work, it's pretty much a completely open market, and trusts can pay as much or as little as they like, as long as obviously someone will pick up the shift and do the work. And so really, it's a function of supply and demand more than anything else. If a particular department or a trust, for example, has higher demand, let's say you're trying to staff a busy A&E or acute medicine rota where you really need those doctors, or services are going to suffer, then that generates demand, and so you will put out more locums and pay more to bring doctors in. This is balanced and offset by supply, so in any area where there is a very large supply of work, somewhere like London, for example, where it's very densely populated and there are lots of doctors, trusts can get away with paying far less, because odds are is that someone will pick up a locum for a low rate. So back to the rate card itself, let's actually take a look. What this rate card does, what the point of it is it advises junior doctors at the various grades what locum pay is reasonable and what they should or should not accept. For example, an F1 doctor, a doctor in their first year of practice after their medical degree, could reasonably expect to get between £25 and £40 an hour for locum work at the moment at the beginning of 2023. The new BMA rate card for junior doctors is advising that you should be asking for at least £60 an hour, which is obviously an enormous jump for anyone who is currently working at £25 an hour. I'll let you go through the other numbers in your own time, but you can see the rates that are being advised on this rate card are often substantially more than what NHS trusts around the country are currently paying. And really you have to think about this as applied to an 8 or a 12-hour shift, not just the hourly rate by itself, but think how much that affects you over the course of a working locum shift. Maybe you do 1 or 2 locum shifts a week. It's really about the long-term earning gains of this. Now, the obvious question that this raises is this rate card binding in any way? Is an NHS trust forced to adhere to it? Well, no, obviously, of course they're not. The BMA is a trade union that exists in the interest of doctors. It has no sway over what trusts do and don't do, especially for extra-contractual work, especially without some form of industrial action or other negotiation. And on that front, I would suggest keeping an eye, because I hear that those pesky junior doctors might be up to something. So if this isn't binding then, well, what's the actual value? The value of this is it's a negotiating tool, in so much to say that if your trust emails you, as is common, as a junior doctor, and they say, you know, hey Ollie, we've got a gap on acute medicine tonight and we can offer you locum rates of £40 an hour to come and cover it from 5 p.m. until 9 p.m. You can now email back and say, I will take the locum and unavailable to work if you agree to meet the minimum advisory rate as per the BMA rate card for junior doctors, which I have linked here. And if they refuse to meet that minimum offer, or they offer you less than the stated amount, then you don't take the shift. You don't work. They don't get the doctor that they need. And this really is the key thing here that we need to understand, is that this only works, this only has any value at all, other than being a bit of paper or a meaningless website, if we work together as juniors and we stick to it. An NHS trust and the NHS en masse as one big organisation will only ever pay whatever the minimum possible amount of money it is to staff a shift or to make sure that something gets done. That's completely understandable. That is what any sensible organisation or business would do in the abstract sense, particularly in view of the NHS as a public sector healthcare service. Its job is to do the maximum possible for the minimum possible cost. That's utilitarianism. But to quote our favourite jaundiced friend Homer Simpson,
money can be exchanged for goods and services.
If everyone refuses to work below the advised rate, as is perfectly okay to do, you decide what your own time is worth, then the trust has no choice but to pay those rates, because NHS trusts are responsible for providing services and keeping patients safe, not you. If a purchaser or a buyer wants access to goods or services, that being your labour as a trained doctor with a recognised primary medical qualification, which is quite a rare good and/or service indeed, then they need to be willing to pay for it. So what do we do now? Where do we go from here? We aim to make every single junior doctor in the country aware of this new advisory rate card, and we discuss it amongst ourselves whenever locums are mentioned. Remember that when trying to purchase locum labour, the NHS needs you. You do not need it. You have something that it wants. That being ultimately your time, energy and cognitive effort, so do not sell it for less than you are worth. If we are strong and united together, as with the industrial action ballot, then we can prosper together. And it is long, long overdue that doctors started clapping back and standing up for themselves. And if trusts retaliate with thinly veiled threats, as unfortunately we have already seen them start doing in the less than 48 hours since the rate card has been out, the linked page for the rate card, which is down in the description below, has a series of very, very good answers for the common retorts that you might see and that the BMA has anticipated, all of which is referenced and linked to the relevant GMC guidelines to ensure that you are fully covered. At the first whiff of bullying or harassment, you copy in the union and you get the BMA involved. The BMA will not stand for it. It will be taken as far as it needs to be taken. So stand strong, use the rate card and get paid what you deserve. Take care, guys.